So I'm sitting here in the lab. I'm about to do some video editing stuff, and for those of y'all who do any kind of creativeness, you know that sometimes you have to kind of gear yourself up for it, so to speak. But anyway, so I'm sitting here thinking about last night's Game Awards, and while I really enjoyed the show, and I even enjoyed more the fact that the Elden Ring DLC didn't win, I'm just thinking about something that Jeff with the G said right in the beginning regarding the 4 Japanese games or 4 Japanese companies. There's something he mentioned, but it sounded a little... Now, if you guys have seen a couple videos, or even if you catch some of the live streams that I've had recently, they've been sporadic, but I went off on some mini tangents, and even in the video, discussing and talking about what I thought either Elden Ring or Astro Boy was going to win. I don't know why I said Astro Boy like that, but either Elden Ring or Astro Boy was going to win. And what happened was I realized, or I didn't realize, that it was the 30th year anniversary. And then, everything came together while at the Game Awards. Like, I knew it was the 30th year anniversary, and I knew that PlayStation or Astro Boy was PlayStation and stuff. What I'm getting at is it smelled a little biased to me. I am glad that Metaphor won. What I was hoping for is that Rebirth won the Game of the Year and Metaphor won the RPG of the year. And my bias, I guess, is because I'm a Final Fantasy fan, and because of the fact that I feel personally that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the best Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy X was dropped, '01? So, I do feel some kind of way, but I also feel some kind of way because I was saying it. Shout out to the homie Tommy. We did a co-stream, and he got me actually wanting to jump on TikTok as well and do some streams on TikToks as well. But and I've been hearing that a lot lately. I might try it out. But I'm sitting here thinking, y'all. I'm like, I've been talking about this for years. And I'm going to make it work this next year. I've already reached out to a few people as well. And I need to reach out to some more regarding the GEAK Awards. The GEAK Awards in G3. So E3 is gone. We know the miasma in 2020 took it off the map. And companies realized, well, what's the purpose? Why should I spend all this money to travel to LA and put up all these things and X, Y, and Z? But truly, when you really think about it, it's almost like the whole physical games situation where we actually used to get, do I have one that has it? Where we used to get games, and instead of tutorials, it's actual instruction manuals. So instead of every 2 seconds, they prompt you. Like, I love Rebirth, but 37 or 27 tutorials within the first 2 hours of the game is ridiculous. Where they actually explain to you what to do. It actually tells you what to do. Yeah, it costs a little more to make these books and papers, and people don't read anymore. At least can I get a QRC, and then I can go to the online instructions manual. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But what does that have to do with E3? It's because it took something out. It was Disneyland, Toys R Us, and E3. I was a gamer, so I was able to go to E3 twice. 2015 and 2017, or 2013 and 2017. So with the Wii U, I seen that, and then also the E3 right where they were doing Mario Odyssey, which I probably should have stood in that 4-hour line to get the Mario Odyssey hat. I'll still have it. But it's something about the physical atmosphere. Now, I'm saying that to talk about me doing something digital, which G3, which you don't think is clever, so G, like for geek, and then take the first three things, which the geek is acronym for game, entertainment, anime, and comedy. So the games, entertainment, and anime, and do a G3 where myself and some other content creators, we do polls, vote on certain things, and get a preview of what's coming out and make a show, so to speak, of it. Maybe an hour. You don't want to be Game Award-ish and do too much. A friend even suggested maybe reach out to some indie companies or other comic folks, the people who are doing different things and stuff, the spotlight stuff, which, everybody loves free publicity, and have that as an annual, yearly thing. Because what it seems like from the Game Awards is it's, of course, money, but it really feels like it's just like it was so many first-person shooters and medieval open-world games. And I like medieval. I've been playing medieval since before I could spell it, say it. I've been on medieval. And it's the same thing what I say with World War II. We can do it, but can we add some other spices and ingredients to it? How about you add some green onions to it? You got a little of that paprika, brown your meat up. Pause. If y'all cook, you know what I mean. Get a little pepper, some sea salt, the pink one. You ain't got to just use the regular kosher salt. What I'm getting at is, it just feels like gaming, and I love gaming. I've been enjoying myself since the miasma, especially. I've been having almost as much fun with gaming as an adult as I did as a kid. It's still not that nostalgic thing when you first, turn on your favorite game, or like when I first played Chrono Trigger, way back in the day. But certain games have really been good, and a lot of some of my favorite games have been recent games. Like I really love Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Fire Emblem 3 Houses is actually one of my favorites. Persona 5. So a lot of modern RPGs and modern games. But that gives me back to like the Summer Game Fest, E3, and the Game Awards. So for those y'all been hearing me talk about this for a while, since probably 2020, I do want to do a Game Awards or the Geek Awards, or just Geek Awards, where I could put the. And I'm going to start preparing for it next year, in the earlier next year. So I'm looking for an event to be in the summer, which is G3, mirror like a G4 mixed with E3, so think of that like that kind of concept. And it feels like I'm way scooted over. Okay, G4, and I wait till the whole video, and then I finally adjust me in the middle. Something like that, where we premiere and talk about the upcoming animes, give spotlights, and you get a chance to see other content creators and what they like in hosting and talking about different games, and then we can air our own skits and promos and different things and such. And the reason why I want to do something like that is because it just feels like now that more corporate stuff has gotten involved, and that also umbrellas under the whole gaming industry especially, is it feels like a lot of creativity has been sucked away, and everything is almost like literally like in some kind of box, now, where it's like the NBA, for those of y'all who watch sports. And if you don't, it's just a phrase. The NBA is a copycat league. Everybody shoot threes. Somebody starts shooting threes and winning, i.e. Golden State Warriors back in the early 2010s. Now everybody's shooting threes because they realize, three is worth more than two. It's been worth more than two for 100 years. But anyway, everybody just piggybacks on the open world medieval type games. And it's a lot of games, not only just indie games, but it's also a lot of RPGs, especially. And there's also a lot of simulation games. There's also even some sports games or little novelty games that just go completely under the radar because everybody's so focused on the big blockbuster triple A first person shooter. I stand by what I'm saying. And I talk a lot of shit about open world games sometimes, and I do like some open world games, but I still feel that Metroid, I just would like to see Metroid, not in first person shooter. I didn't really feel that they had to go down like, that same route. Yes, it was popular and it was a great game, but that was 2 generations ago. I guess after Other M, they was like, I just don't, and I didn't mind Other M. At least it gave her a different outlook. It gave Sammy a different perspective of things. I need to rebuy that game. I don't even know what happened to it, but I used to have it. I bought it at GameStop like $15 a while ago, or some years ago. Now that I think about it, but I don't know what happened to the game. But I actually really liked Other M because it gave Samus and the Metroid franchise a different avenue, kind of like how Prime did. So I would have liked to seen Samus in this world, but it just feels to me it's just such an overabundance of these battle royale shooters, and these dark, gloomy medieval games. We've seen so many, like that new game by Naughty Dog. I forgot the name of it. With Asian girl with that futuristic blade. That's what I'm talking about. That's taking initiative. That's something of the old, but something new, and it has a different palette. Dragon Age, Elden Ring, and all its DLCs. Even The Witcher. And I'm not saying these are bad games. What I'm saying is if you look at them and you put them side by side, all these damn games look the same, and most of them are in that same genre. I'm not saying that on G3 or the GEAK Awards that we wouldn't talk about those games or give due credit for those games, but I would like to be a place to spotlight more of the games that we're not getting paid to sponsor. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these big studios are giving money for sponsors and stuff. But Astro Boy, I didn't play Astro Boy like that, but everybody I've seen play Astro Boy had a really good time with it. For me, I thought it was just going to be the family game of the year, and that was going to be it. I figured, I said, this is going to be the time that Nintendo finally loses family game, which they did. And I should have seen the writing on the wall. What Astro Boy already had like 3 or 4 different awards before the Game Awards. But shout out to Sydney again. I love Sydney on the Game Awards. But what happened was I was a little disappointed because I really enjoyed Rebirth, and from following how they developed the game and everything they had been doing with the game, maybe if it came out later, kind of like in the time slot like Metaphor did too, or closer to the end of the year, it would have had a better chance. We got freaking Rebirth in February, and believe it or not, people are still talking about it. I mean, it is Final Fantasy VII, so that's not surprising, but that's what I was thinking was going to be Game of the Year. Even if Metaphor were the Game of the Year, I get it's the sales, and I can't really talk bad about Astro Boy or Bot. Astro Boy is the anime, but Astro Bot, like again, I haven't played it. I've seen people play it, and it wasn't that I didn't want to play it. It's just that there's so many other games, and for me, I just thought that a game with a central story, a narrative, an orchestrated musical score, and I'm not just talking about it had to be Rebirth, but I just thought that would have won Game of the Year. And for me, it just felt like it was a little footsies under the table. It just felt like it was a little, it's the Sony's 30th year anniversary. And Astro Boy did them numbers. So Astro Boy's going to do this. Jeff don't like RPGs, not Japanese RPGs. He said something very sly, like I said in the beginning, if y'all go back and look at it. He said something very sly about Japanese developers or companies or something or games that were on the list. And even anytime they talk about the games, when it comes to any game, but when the Japanese like RPGs and stuff, he just glosses over. I'll never forget 2022 when Tales of Arise won the RPG of the year, and then it wasn't no time on it. Like, they did do the orchestra with all the Game of the Year nominees this year, which was nice, but it just feels like, and we can't sit here and lie and say that these games aren't relevant because of the fact these games are selling 1 million copies in the first week or first month. Like Infinite Wealth, which only got 1 nomination, Persona 3 Reload. I mean, that sold like 1 million in this first, the first couple of weeks, the first month. Metaphor, Rebirth, all these games are million seller games, and I guess it's not bringing in Call of Duty numbers. But that's just my little two-piece wing with a side about it. It's just, I want to do something that's more for the game, more grassroots when it comes to anime and video games and the entertainment that we digest. And when I'm talking about like the entertainment we digest is, you know, like movies, like the Sonic 3 movies coming out, or Lord of the Rings, or when the Star Wars movies comes out, or like a comic book movie. And we can talk about what's upcoming, what's new, what's fresh. And then one thing I will always, and I will do, is actually put, if I'm talking about a game, just run the trailer for 30 seconds. I mean, I get it. They were doing sponsors, and I love to do some sponsors too. Elgato, review codes. I definitely would plug some of that stuff in, but I just think that for such a big blockbuster thing, I would like to see more from it, and to go all the way back to the E3 thing. That's one of the things by me going for a few times and then watching how it was ran over the internet and you know, and stuff like that when I couldn't go. It's just something about it, just felt where it wasn't all about just the big titles. You got a chance to see a lot of indie stuff, or a lot of stuff we just never seen. So I want to talk about different things in that capacity. So stay tuned, y'all, for that. I had some videos slated, some more Fantasian stuff and profiles and different videos and other ideas. But I just want to get on here and say that. So to announce that this Game Awards has kind of motivated me to do my own thing, really. But I did enjoy the Game Awards. It was long, and they only had the Muppets out for 3 times and probably less than 4 minutes this time. And he was roasting last year's freaking Game Awards. So that means Jeff actually was listening, and Jeff wasn't on screen as much, and they didn't cut people off while they were talking either this year. But it was ran a lot smoother than last year. It's just, for me, like, man, it just felt, I get it, these games are getting the sales, but it just felt like it's like mainstream gaming. Like a lot of games, I know a lot of hardcore gamers. I'm not saying that these games that was on the Game Awards weren't hardcore games, because there were some, but there's a lot of hardcore games and games that were just under the radar, and nobody, like Ayuden Chronicles, nobody even talked about Ayuden Chronicles or other games that had dropped this year, especially in the role-playing game faction. And role-playing games, and I'll stick by this as long as I'm gaming, is the backbone of the gaming community. But anyway, y'all, I wasn't trying to make this video 120 minutes. I'll holler at you on the next one. As always, remember to eat, geek, sleep, and repeat. And I'll see y'all next week. Or, matter of fact, tomorrow, it's Archives, Saturday. Peace.